Hi there, my name is Kashif. I am a software developer and I'm working on my own startup. And in this channel, I'm logging all that journey and sharing it with you. So last time I shared why I'm doing this and why I'm quitting my current developer job to start this company. So today I just wanted to share the actual idea with you and also show you a demo and the prototype that I have developed so far. And also I want to tell you why this service could be a good fit for some people. So let me first tell you about the idea, and then we're going to see some small demo of the web application that I have built so far. And then I will talk about other stuff, right? Okay, so let's jump into the site here. So as you can see, the name of my company would be Mono. You can go to mono.fm and you will be able to access this. Now, Mono is a podcast hosting company. That means for people who want to create their own podcast, this is the place where you can do that. A slight tangent about the podcasting. When you want to create a podcast, you don't just go to Apple Podcast or Spotify or Google and create the podcast there. You actually have to go to a hosting company and create your podcast, something like this, right? And then you can submit that podcast to Apple or Spotify or Google or any other podcasting app. So this is what I want to do. And the unique selling point of this service compared to the other ones is that we are a pay-as-you-go podcast hosting, right? So instead of having a fixed subscription of, let's say, $15 a month, we only charge users about $1 a month for every 50 gigabytes of download. So just to interrupt, this 50 gigabytes might sound confusing, but 50 gigabytes gives you about 2,000 downloads. So if your show is getting about 2,000 downloads, you would be paying $1 a month. If you're getting 4,000 downloads, then you will pay $2 a month, and so on. So back to the video. So the benefit of having this kind of pricing is that people who are just dipping their toes in podcasting, or someone who's just trying podcasting out, can easily do that without having a big commitment. And another important thing is that because the pricing is quite utility based, you only pay for what you use. So if you have a small podcast, something that do not have a lot of downloads, then you don't have to pay a lot of money. And I think that's a very good use case. And it is something that I personally wanted because I want to experiment with creating a podcast, but I'm not sure if I want to be serious about this. So this is, I think, a good way for people to get into podcasting, right? Now, please ignore the shitty website design. I have not finished this part yet, but you can see here I'm just giving a general introduction of what it is, and also I'm listing all the features that I want to provide. Also, one thing I hate about many podcasting services out there is that they limit the number of shows or the number of episodes you can make. And I, as a developer, I feel like the software itself should be free, right? We should not put arbitrary restrictions on people based on the ultimate or a premium version of subscription or the enterprise version, right? So that's why in Mono, we give every feature to every user. There is no restriction on what you can use. So you only pay for what you use. That is $1 for every 50 gigabytes of download, and you get unlimited shows. You also get a dedicated podcast website. You can invite team members and collaborate together. You get full analytics. There is no limitation on that, and many things, right? So yeah, and so this is the basic website. I'm also giving a free trial. Now let's go into the actual meat of this application, which is the app. So if you log in here or you click the tryout button, you will go to this app.mono page, and this is my test page. But if you create your own account, it will be empty, and then you can click to create show or import existing show. And then you can create your own podcast, right? So the base application itself is complete, and I have been working on it for about 3 months or so. So yeah, so that's why all the basic features that any podcaster needs is already there. So yeah, let's look at that, right? So when you come here, you can click create show and it will take you to a create show page. You can then input all your information about the podcast that you want to create and then just click submit and it will actually create a new show for you. And this is just some test podcast that I was creating. And from the main page, you can see some other things like what's your account usage. So you can see that this month I have not consumed any bandwidth, right, from the month of August to September. But in the past, I have paid about $1 because I used 1 gigabyte. And also you can see past history of what you have done. So like you can see what episodes I have created or deleted. And then you can go to settings and then input your payment information. And you can see what plan you're on. Currently, there's only one plan. And you can also invite your team members here, right? If I do this, and then you can invite your team members here. You can give them permission. So let's say you want someone to only be able to create shows, but not allow them to touch your billing information. You can do that from here, right? And we don't charge any extra money from users for these features because I think every podcaster should get all the features without paying for enterprise version or premium version, right? And other than that, if you already host your podcast somewhere, let's say Libsyn or any other platform, you can just go to import show and then you can fill in the RSS link that Libsyn gives you here and then click submit and it will actually import your podcast, all of your podcast, all of your past episodes, everything is imported, and then you can just completely transition over to mono. Yeah, so the next thing is that if you go inside the show, we give you all the information about your podcast. Like this is the unique RSS link, which this is the link that you actually submit to Apple or Spotify or Google, and then they will be able to detect all your episodes every time you upload a new one. And you can see that I have some description and latest things. And if you go to episodes, you can see the list of all your episodes. I only have one. And in the analytics, you will be able to see like how many downloads you're actually getting, which country the downloads are coming from, which is your most popular episode, and what device people are using and other kind of things, right? And also you can see your usage on a per show level. So if you have multiple shows, you can see how much each show is consuming. And then also you can go, this is the settings page where you can change the settings for this show, right? So here you can see I can change the description, categories, author information, and you can also update the artwork. And this is the website page where everyone gets their own dedicated website, and you can change the name if you like. And here you can submit some other podcast stuff. And then this advanced settings is just to delete your show, or if you want to migrate to some other provider, you can do that, right? Yeah, but this is like the basic web application. And also one thing I forgot is you can create a new episode. So once you have set up a show, you want to create episode, right? So let's say every week you want to upload one web episode, you will just come here and create the episode with the title and the description, and then you will upload your audio file and just click submit, and it will just create the new episode, right? So yeah, this is it. And yeah, you can go to other places. We have some footer, whatever. So this is it. I mean, it's kind of feature complete, but it's also very basic. I am not really sure about the design. I might change it in future. Yeah, so this is it. Now, I'm really bad at explaining things, so I apologize if I have confused you about something. Please ask in the comments if you have anything. I also want to point out that I have not explained how I built it. I'm sure many people might be curious about the technology that I'm using, or they want to know more about what, whether I'm using React or Vue or anything like that. So I want to explain what technology I'm using, what backend infrastructure I'm using, how all of this works as the whole application. I want to talk about that, right? I'll do those kind of videos as well in future. And also, if you have any question about other things, please ask. So the next thing I want to discuss briefly is about free podcasting, right? I'm sure people have heard about Anchor FM, right? Or any other free kind of podcast hosting. And these services actually let you create podcasts for free, right? And you might ask that if someone can just go and create podcasts for free, why would they come and buy my $1 plan? And for that, I would say that yes, Anchor is a pretty good option. Anchor FM actually gives you free podcasting. But I personally do not like the idea of monetization of podcasts with just ads. I think podcasting is a more, closer medium. When you are listening to a podcast, it's a really focused medium, right? And what Anchor is doing right now seems to be going in the direction of YouTube, right? They want to become the YouTube of podcasting, right? And I do not agree with that. I think we should not try to put ads in podcast. There are many other ways like sponsorship deals or, premium subscription kind of model. And I think that can be a more, cleaner solution of podcasting. So that's why I'm pretty sure that there are many podcasters who would not want to embed some random ad in their podcast and would want to, have more control over how they monetize their show. So I think for those people, this kind of paid podcast hosting makes sense. Another question is about free podcasting, right? There are many podcast host companies which just gives you totally free plan. So why not just take that? And for those kind of plans, I would say this is that hosting a podcast actually costs money, right? The bandwidth is expensive and you have to store the audio file somewhere. So it's not a reasonable thing to say that you can just host for free forever, right? Most of the time, these free services go out of business and you don't want your podcast to just disappear from the internet because your host provider actually ran out of money. Another problem with these companies is that most of the free plans are actually very restricted, right? They will try to lure you in with the free plan and then try to upsell you to their $15 or $20 plan, which can be really a big barrier to entry. So that's why I think that having this kind of pay-as-you-go model gives you the freedom and flexibility of time, right? So when you create a new podcast, it takes about 1 or 2 years to actually become successful in it, right? Also, I want to say that for some people, especially in the developed countries, people don't really mind paying $15 a month for services. But there are many other places in the world where $15 a month is a very big barrier to entry. And that's why we don't see that many podcasts out there from other developing countries like India or anywhere else, right? So by having a more affordable option and pay as you go in that sense is more easier for those people as well, I think. And even people who are okay paying with $15 a month podcast hosting, majority of the podcast episodes get less than about 400 downloads a month, right? That means you are probably overpaying for your podcast, right? And even though $15 a month might sound cheap, it's about $200 a year, right? That money you can use to buy better equipment for your podcast. That money saved could be spent in other things, right? And what I have seen from the current users that I have on this platform is that majority of them are on a $1 or $2 plan, right? So when you start your own podcast, you would be on a $1 to $2 expense for the next 1 year, right? And only after that, when you start to grow more and more listeners, you will pay more, right? And that to me seems really fair. And this is one of the reasons that I wanted to build this, is because it feels fair, right? You pay for what you use, and you don't pay any extra money for some other big podcaster, right? So let's talk about what's next for Mono as a startup, and also what's next for the channel. First thing is that I have a few users already. I have been trying to hunt down some of my friends who were podcasting and try to slowly ask them to use my service. And other than that, I also have some organic users already using the service. So that's also a really good validation of whether this idea works or not, right? As for what's next for this, I will, because I have the base product ready, I will try to focus more on marketing and try to get more and more customers. I think the first few customers are really important. I would want to go to at least 100 to 500 customers first, and that would be my next target. Also, other than that, trying to find new users would be my next challenge for this, and also working on the app itself. Of course, this thing is, although it's complete, there are many new features that I want to implement. But other than this, I also have a lot of ideas about the future, or my vision of podcasting, right? There are so many things that I can do, and especially there are many things that I want to implement in this app itself, and also other than this, as the whole podcast ecosystem, I would like to work on that. And of course, I will try to share everything on this channel. I'm sorry I was not able to show all the inner workings of this application, or maybe any more details, but in the coming future, I will definitely make videos about what technology I'm using, how I was able to build this, or what challenges I faced technically, right? Those sort of things. And also, I'm not really good at this YouTube thing, and I'm also not exactly sure what exact points people would like to see. So if you're interested in this sort of thing, please let me know what kind of questions you have, right? What things you would like to know. I'll share that in the next episode or so, right? So yeah, this was my small demo of Mono FM. If you are interested in creating your own podcast, please contact me, or just go to mono.fm directly and just access the 30-day trial. Also, if you are interested, or if you have any ideas to share, if you think that something can be improved, please, I'm always open to hearing that. So I'll see you next time with more updates and stuff. So bye bye.